It's time for us to check out the number one reason for you to visit any European city around the holidays.
Now this is Eastern European Christmas.
The Reverend's new assistant.
Assistant? Oh, we wrote to the church council months ago for extra help.
Well, the extra help is here.
The Preacher's Wife. It's a criminally underrated Christmas movie and one of my personal favorites. For many people, the winter holidays are about family, so traveling is reduced to going home for Christmas. But what if this year you're feeling adventurous? What if, just for once, you take a page out of the McAllister Family Holiday Book and just go somewhere for Christmas? Take the whole family, pack things up, and travel to one of the most Christmassy places in the world. Well, I got you. Hi, I'm Michael Tudor, and in this video, I'm going to take you on a big Christmas adventure.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Up next, we're going to see some medieval buildings, a few medieval walls, and a medieval tower or two. We're gonna check out some medieval food, but made today, and some medieval folk tales, but told in a modern way. All of this with an Eastern European flavor, and on the side, a little bit of my favorite time of the year. So as a gift to me, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're feeling charitable, and let's explore one of the most stunning cities in Eastern Europe, Brașov.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh.
Brașov is a picturesque city in beautiful Romania, almost at the southern edge of Eastern Europe, nestled right at the point where the eastern and southern Carpathian mountains meet, surrounding the Transylvanian plateau. Brașov is so old that there are signs of people living here even before the Neolithic era. Yeah, before we learned we could plant crops and make pizza and stuff. It became an official settlement at about the end of the Middle Ages. And at first, because people kept trying to get in and break stuff and steal stuff, it was built as a citadel with tall, thick walls surrounding it, many of which are still standing today. With time, it expanded in every possible direction, creating this massive expanse of modern convenience and old-school charm. Speaking of old, let's start our journey through Brașov with the thing that you can find in almost all European historical cities: the Old Town. Brașov's Old Town is so old it has a literal gate. Actually, it has two. Check this out.
This is Sky Gate. It's clearly a more modern entrance. It was built somewhere between the American Revolutionary War and that other war. On the other hand, Ekaterina's Gate is clearly older. Built right after the Middle Ages, it was specially designed and reinforced to be easily defensible, and it's absolutely stunning. Inside, we find the narrow alleys typical of an European old town, and there's no narrower an alley in all of Brașov like Rope Street. Unfortunately, today they're working on it, but I'm sure I'm going to find some beautiful B-roll to show you what it looked like and what it's probably going to look like in the future. Initially used by firemen, Rope Streets demonstrates the problem-solving and forward-thinking nature of people even in medieval times. It was also used by lovers to retreat from the public eye and get some privacy. I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same.
If we follow these charming streets lined with absolutely stunning townhouses, perfect examples of German architecture, we arrive at a majestic monolith.
This is the Black Church, probably the best known landmark in all of Brașov. It's an amazing fusion of Gothic and Baroque architecture. It was built right at the end of the Middle Ages, and at that time it was considered the largest place of worship between Vienna and Constantinople. Oh, and if you're asking yourself why it's called a black church, it's because it burned down and was rebuilt twice. That said, I promised an Eastern European Christmas, and although the whole city is appropriately adorned, it's time for us to check out the #1 reason for you to visit any European city around the holidays: the Christmas market. This is Council Square. All through the year, it's full of people walking around or relaxing in the many sitting areas. But in December, it's taken over by the Christmas market. Handcrafted stuff galore, all kinds of artisanal sweets, and every liquid you could boil with spices. It's awesome. You might have noticed that at this Christmas market there isn't much to eat. There's a good reason for that, because the best restaurants in the whole city are literally lining the square. Not only that, but the exceptional dining establishments extend into and around Brashov's old Main Street, now known as Republic Street. But what you're really here for is the vibe. These beautiful townhouses seem like they go forever. Every street and alley around Republic Street holds some kind of secret or surprise. And as I already hinted at, restaurants and cafes at every corner, serving all kinds of traditional European cuisine from the region. Speaking of food, I was thinking of switching things up a bit in this video, not just checking out a restaurant to see what the local food is like. Oh no, we have to have an authentic Eastern European Christmas meal. So tell me, where do you think we could find the best Christmas food in the whole world? Yeah, at home. When I think of home, I think of food. Home smells of spices, and spices point to heritage and culture. Home smells of coffee and tea. Home is where you cook, where you eat, where you share. So that's why I'm inviting you into my home to sit down at my table and try a traditional Romanian Christmas dish. It includes sarmale, a kind of cabbage roll with 2 different delicious fillings. On the side, a Romanian variant of polenta with sour cream and a stunning cheese only made here. And we'll wash it all down with some mulled wine. But first, my favorite part, the cooking. Sarmale, my favorite traditional Romanian dish. Let's look at how us Romanians make it and have made it for a long time. Let's start with the ingredients. Today we're actually making the meat version, and we have to start on the filling. First, the onions. I threw in a little bit of garlic, just for the taste. I love garlic. We need a little bit of short grain rice, some red pepper here, some celery, and a little bit of carrot. The base of the filling is the ground meat. Herbs and spices enhance any dish. So for herbs, today we have dill and parsley, sweet paprika, and some thyme. Ooh, of course, salt and pepper. Salt and pepper, always, that's a given. And we also need the vegetables with the rice in here. All right, now that the filling is done, we have to actually make the cabbage rolls. Now, what you do here is just with a spoon, you take a little bit of the filling, you put it inside the cabbage, right? And then you try to roll it as tight as possible. And last but certainly not least is what you make the food in. This is a traditional Eastern European clay pot. For today, I'm not making this much. I mean, this is for the whole family. I'm not making this much. But I have a smaller one. Doesn't look smaller. See, the lid is pretty big. So this is what I have. Now, first we need to make a bed of chopped cabbage. We also need bacon, half of the bacon. Then you put in the sarmale, more bacon, the rest of the bacon, and more shredded cabbage. One last ingredient for the cooking, vegetable stock and tomato juice. And now, inside the preheated oven.
Every culture has its own version of polenta, and what Romanians call mămăligă is at its core very simple: cornmeal, water, and salt. I always serve it with a big dollop of sour cream, and of course, some traditional Romanian bellows cheese. Okay, a little bit more cheese. And last but certainly not least, mulled wine. I absolutely love mulled wine. I can't think of a country in Europe that doesn't have its own version. First, the wine. Most importantly, it needs to be dry. Very, very dry, because the taste still needs to come through after we hit it with all of the fruits and spices. And here we are. Sarmale cu mămăligă, cu brânză de burduf și smântână și vin fiert. A traditional Romanian Christmas dish. Alright, let's dig in. Cabbage rolls first. If you pack the filling in tight, the water helps steam it, and it cooks in its own fat. And the wrap, because it was pickled, it actually has a little bit of a acidic kick, you know, it's awesome. Let's try the polenta next. Best of all, it absorbs all of that sour cream, and the bellows cheese is extra maturated, so it's a little bit spicy. Absolutely love this. Childhood nostalgia in every bite. Now this is Eastern European Christmas. I love taking a walk after a good Christmas meal, and the best place to take a long walk is always a forest. So it's a good thing Brașov has a massive forested hill right in the middle of the city. Right outside the old town rises Tâmpa, basically an urban mountain at almost 1,000 meters or over 3,000 feet tall and spanning 100 hectares or 370 acres. It's unmistakable. It towers over almost everything in sight. It even has a Hollywood-like sign at the top, which is also visible from everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Look behind me. Well, it's not visible right now, but it will be. The peak is accessible on one side by hiking to the top through several stunning trails of varying difficulty, and on the other side you can go straight up to the top via cable car. Either way, you're getting stunning views all the way up and at the top, of course. However, my favorite part is the promenade at the base. The perfect place to take a walk, admiring nature on one side and the tops of the buildings of Old Town on the other side. Because we're right outside the original settlement, we can walk beside the actual medieval walls and the many towers built initially to reinforce defenses. Each tower is named for the laborers, artisans, and craftsmen housed inside the city at the time. All of this leads to Olympia, a huge sports base camp with a absolutely beautiful main building and a museum of sports, specifically winter sports. On the other side of the old town, there's a street behind the walls, which is what it's actually called, and the name is fitting. It's also accompanied by several more defensive towers and bastions. Couple that with the deep forest on the other side, it creates this cozy atmosphere. European cultures are old. Almost as old as that thing you forgot in the fridge. Yeah, in the old Tupperware container. Yeah, you should probably throw that out. Now, because it's so old, Europe has folktales predating the invention of Christmas, and as we know, some of them have been assimilated into the birth of Christ. You ever ask yourself why Santa has so many names? Santa Claus, Kris Kringle, Old Saint Nick. Well, it's because he's a hodgepodge of several European pagan deities and folktales and actual people. One of these figures is still celebrated nowadays all throughout Europe on December 5th. Yes, over here we have two old men that come in the winter, visiting at night, bearing gifts. Saint Nicholas is a mythical figure in European folklore that brings gifts to good children on the night between December 5th and 6th. And that's where agreement on the details of this fable basically ends. I imagine that there are as many different versions of folktales in Europe as there are folktales in the world. Back in the day when I first started researching European folklore, I was shocked by how the story I was told as a kid about Saint Nicholas was both unique and very much common knowledge. My grandmother actually told me the story of Old Man Nicholas. She was born in a small village at the foot of the Eastern Carpathian Mountains. And as a kid, sometime around the Second World War, her grandfather told her a magnificent take on this old story. So here it is, the story of how Old Man Nicholas helped children get through the cold and hard winters of yesteryear. It was a dark and snowy night, and up the mountain every path was covered white. The wind wailed, the blizzard raged, and the bear slept peacefully in its hidden cave. Ah, what's that? Stirring in the distance. Is it a cat? A wolf? A gorilla? Or maybe a bat? What manner of creature could stand this snowy downpour? A wizard? Or a witch? Or the tax collector? No, just an old man on a mission to reach a light in the distance before the night ceases. Large brown boots crush and crunch, advancing to his destination like digging a trench. His destination? A warm wooden cottage on a mountain's ridge. Arriving at the abode, the codger approaches to peer through a window. A smoldering fire illuminates his face with a warm glow. Inside, a simple chamber, awash in amber, a glowing hearth, the only source of warmth. Next to it, a large bed with 3 small bumps under the covers, betraying those who slumbered there, young dreamers. On the other side of the room, beside a cooking oven, are mother and father, sleeping deeply, holding each other. Strewn about the place here and there, yet neatly, were the necessities of mountain living, and a dog called Wheatley. And on the windowsill, neatly arranged right by some brushes, are 3 sets of diminutive winter galoshes, old, worn, but freshly cleaned and shined. Looking around, the old man concluded that this family did not have much. They indeed had enough not to go hungry until March. However, enough to live on is never enough to live for. Feeding the heart will get you through the harshest labor. Confident in his judgment, the hermit resolved to give all of them a small gift, or 2. With a wave of his hand, each boot in the home filled up with every kind of sweet there was to chew. Turkish delight, French truffles, British mince pies, and halva, the kind you only get from Iran. German salon tsukor, Egyptian semsea, Spanish turum, and something called mochi, all the way from Japan. Imagining the happiness and wonder these candied delights will bring made the wizard smile. Alas, he would never witness these moments in person. He never did, as there was no time to idle. The magician whirled around once and disappeared in a flurry of snowflakes, leaving behind a peaceful cottage on a mountain ridge, smoke slowly rising from its stacks. Old Man Nicholas was his name, we now know. From whence he came, we can't even start to guess. But when the harshest blizzard through the village will blow, we can expect the sweetest of gifts our home to bless.
We wish you a Merry
I can't believe I didn't have time for this one. Check this out. This is the fortress on the watchtower. It's a huge fortress on a hill. What's cooler than that? I'd love to show you so much more. Skiing right outside of Brasov are both Poyana Brasov and Predal. Perfect places for winter activities.
Hiking, of course, I've already talked about Tâmpa, but half an hour south of here is Bucegi National Park, a huge mountain range full of paths for beginners and experts. Oh, more castles. Castle Bran, which was not Dracula's castle, but I'll get to that one day. Ryshnov, another medieval beauty on a hill. Bushten is a picturesque mountain village where you can find Cantacuzino Castle, a relatively modern manor with unique architecture inside and out. And Cantacuzino is also where they filmed the hit streaming show Wednesday.
And last, but certainly not least, my absolute favorite place in Romania and one of the most beautiful places in all of Europe, Sinaia. With its breathtaking pearl in the middle of the forest, Castle Peleș. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. But I will definitely be back in Brasov to show you more. Until then, from me to you, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and thank you for watching. See you next time, right back here.